Good morning and welcome. Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason here on this Monday. I hope it finds you well. What a crazy weekend it was in the football world. I got to talk about it. How about those Cardinals? Yeah, you know what? I am one of those guys. I don't know why, but I hate the Cowboys. I don't care who they play. But the Cardinals, they were supposed to. I thought the Cardinals were going to be the worst team in the league. Man, was I wrong. Apparently, it's the Broncos or the Bears. I guess the coaching change didn't really matter, did it? Wow, a 70 spot. And, of course, for those of you that are not football fans, I apologize. But, wow, you talk about getting – there's a bad – you know what? Colorado had a bad football weekend. Prime time. Neon Dion, Oregon kind of blew them up. But listen, I think Dion's great. Colorado's going to be fine. This isn't their year yet. He's going to need a couple of years. But everything crashing around Colorado football. Here's the good news. We got Joey with us today. Joey's in Chicago. And I think it really is. I think there's a battle. Who's the worst team in the NFL? Is it the Broncos or is it the Chicago Bears? I think that's really the question. I really do. Joey, I know you follow the Bears. Not good there either.
No, the Bears are, in my opinion, they're way worse than the Broncos. They put up 3 points. They get blown out. Every fan here in Chicago is predicting playoffs. You know, they're terrible, and they're worse than the Broncos. And the Cardinals, baby, I think we're back. We're going to win a Super Bowl. Our 2 losses were 1-possession losses. You know, I'm pumped up. You know, we lost to the Giants by 3 last week. The Giants lost to the Cowboys by 40. It doesn't make any sense. I think the Cardinals are great. If Kyler Murray can get healthy, we might make a playoff run. Who knows at this point? My hopes are high.
Well, see, there you go, a native Arizonan, not very many of those out there. I'm just going to say this. Yeah, all of you need to put the Kool-Aid down if you're talking about the Cardinals in the playoffs. But I digress. Listen, I know enough about sports. You know, you were on last week warning everybody about what was going on the insurance side, the life insurance side, kind of letting people know out there that, hey, guess what? It's not just car insurance. It's not just health insurance. It's not just mortgage insurance. It seems like the entire insurance game has gotten a lot more expensive. They're trying to find reasons to not give out policies. You got insurance companies leaving states entirely. Rates today, the 10-year note way above where it's been in the last 15, 16, going on 17 years. But this is something I got to give credit. Early on, you and Jason both were saying, hey, listen, rates are going higher. Don't believe my dad. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Rates are going to end the year on a high note, and it looks like that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, it's exactly what's happening. You know, it's not cooling down as fast as people intended or thought it would because inflation is still there. So we're specifically monitoring that, and we think it'll slowly come down. But it seems like there's been no end to the hikes. And to revisit the insurance side, because it's super important. A lot of people, especially, you know, I know KHNC listeners, we're older, we've done some insurance planning, right? Maybe we have a life insurance product. These products have changed tremendously over time, and honestly, for the better, right? There's more creative ways where you could utilize this money during your lifetime, but also hybrid policies where it's life insurance but also long-term care. The biggest thing I've seen navigating this retirement market, pre-retirement market, you know, is long-term care as a parent to us. Maybe our mom or dad went through it, or things like that, or mom and dad is living at home and we're taking care of it, or they're in a living facility. and they're spending $8,000 a month, and it's really taking all of their assets. And the biggest problem we see talking to these people is, Joey, but what happens if I just pass away one night and I never have a long-term care event and all those dollars I put into it are just wasted? That's a problem, and that's a risk people are thinking about. But there's a way where, yes, you have a life insurance policy, but you can access the death benefit for your long-term care needs. And that way, every dollar you fund into this, you either use in your lifetime through your cash value or through long-term care, or it gets passed on to your loved ones, and you have generational planning and generational growth. And these products weren't available 5 years ago, 10 years ago. They've changed tremendously. And if we haven't revisited or looked at new things, I urge you to make that call and look at these products through the number one company that provides the most value. Just recently, we had rolled over someone's life insurance through another company into a different product that's going to make them more financially sound. Whether long-term care happens, boom, it's planned for. They need tax-free dollars growing outside the market, boom, it's there. You need a death benefit to pass on assets to your loved ones via taxes or other problems, boom, it's there. Right? Like, there are so much things changing in this industry. I just urge people, we need to find out what new products are offered so we can make sure we're being most efficient.
We're going to be right back with more with Joey. Stay with us, because it's going to get really, really hard in the investment world, and they've got products that can really help you. We'll be right back. (800-951-0592). Joe and Jason here on this Monday. We've got Joey with us, of course, from Northwestern Mutual. You guys know why we love them. They're the best. First of all, they're the best. The highest rated financial company. They're not a bank. Remember all the bank bailouts, and all these companies had to pretend they were banks so they wouldn't go insolvent? Northwestern Mutual didn't do that. They're not even publicly traded. Why? Because they don't need to be beholden to State Street and BlackRock and all these other shareholders. And they've got the highest credit rating. Heck, it's better than the federal government, if you can actually believe that. But, Joey, you were talking about how things have changed immensely and recently. Full disclosure, I'll let you know the policy Joey was talking about before the break. That is exactly what me and my wife have. We love it. It's great. We're stockpiling cash, and if I need it or my wife needs it for long-term care, it's going to be there. If we're fortunate enough and we don't need it, we can spend it, we can pass it down, and Joey, when you do that, you're spending, it's tax-free.
It's 100% tax-free, and we're seeing people pass on $500,000, $1 million, $100,000, all tax-free to their loved ones, and Uncle Sam isn't seeing a piece of it. And talking with people, this is, and quite frankly, the main way people are passing things down and creating that generational wealth for their kids' families and their future families. It's pretty often and common for our clients to already have these policies for their kids that are 1 year old. And they're already stockpiling these dollars. And we're just thinking at a pretty high level for everyone to make sure that we're not only putting you and your spouse in a fantastic place to make yourself bulletproof, but for the future generations to come, and to make sure that financial literacy and the wealth of your assets is constantly passed down and done in the correct way, working alongside lawyers and attorneys and helping out with estate planning. And I just think it's something that's super important. As one family guy to the next, these are things that should be on our mind, especially as we're entering retirement. And if you haven't thought about it, or if you've been thinking about it, but you've been putting it on the back burner, now's the time to have that conversation and just make sure you're exploring all of the avenues that you have access to. Right? If you've already done some of this planning maybe 5 years ago or 10 years ago, it's changed. Let's revisit and just look at the different opportunities you have access to. And I know before the break you mentioned investments, right? Interest rates. Well, the big thing we see in retirement is we built up big assets. 401ks, pensions, IRAs. We got 500,000, we got $1 million, we've got 10 million. Our goal and objective now is no longer growth, but it's income. How do we, as your advisor, put your money into stocks that are giving dividends so that you can supplement your Social Security, you can supplement that pension, and you've got dollars coming in every month. But also, how are you converting traditional dollars to Roth dollars over time, getting you tax-free growth and making sure we're not going up tax brackets, right? And we're constantly monitoring this. We're looking at it. We're reviewing it every quarter. We're talking to clients. What's our expected income? What's the next tax bracket? Can we do a Roth IRA conversion? And when does it make sense? And how much makes sense? And we're really looking to set our clients up in pre-retirement or retirement to be as tax efficient as possible, but also to preserve your wealth and grow it at the same time. We're no longer chasing dollars. If you're chasing dollars in your retirement and you've got good assets built up, we're doing it wrong. We should chase consistent income via dividend of stocks and look at different ways to convert our taxable dollars to tax-free dollars. Right? I know I hate paying taxes. I know my dad hates paying taxes. But when we stop working and we stop having an income, we hate paying taxes even more. Let's make sure we put you in a spot from an investment perspective that you've got income coming in, or you're converting taxable dollars to tax-free, and at the end of the day, giving Uncle Sam the smallest slice of pie possible. And we do that through a review, through a conversation, and figuring out what truly matters to you, what's our financial outlook, and what do we need to live off of every month, and put a plan in place to get you there. And if you're someone that's been thinking about these things, you're going to retire soon, you just retired, you don't have a plan in place, reach out to me. My personal cell is 602-909-9048. Again, that is 602-909-9048. I have a blast working with listeners from KHNC because we just align with the same values. Let's put you in a better spot than when you were yesterday and give you some clearance and guidance on how to get you from point A to point B and improve upon that year over year.
You know, you're talking taxes too, and we've been in this cycle, this 30, 40 year cycle where they were lowering taxes. Now, all of a sudden, the cycle's starting to shift. Let's just tax the rich people, right? Let's tax the millionaires. Let's tax the billionaires. Now it's let's tax the $400,000 heirs, and it seems like as these debts start exploding, which we've seen again now with the national debt over $2 trillion, people are talking about $3 trillion next year. It looks like they're going, this whole cycle looks like it's getting ready to go the other way, and higher taxes seem like they're going to be coming, and they keep lowering the threshold for what they consider to be somebody that makes a lot of money. So I think it's really important to get this stuff done ahead of time and get as many of these dollars turned into tax-free, because once you switch them to tax-free dollars, they're tax-free dollars.
100%. They can't switch it back, right? And there's a reason why they hired a ton of people to work for the IRS, so they can get the middleman. They can get your average American person, and they can stick it to you. We're in debt. We're increasing our debt at an alarming rate. Tax rates are probably going to go up in the future to pay for that debt. They're going to have you and I and all of us listening today paying for that. Let's get a plan in place so that we're not the ones that are cutting the check every year to the government year over year to pay for their ridiculous spending. You know, it's time to be a lot more strategic in what we do, and it's time to make sure that we don't let ourselves put things on the back burner and shoot ourselves in the foot. There's a reason why they make it kind of complicated so that you sit back and don't do anything. You want to stick it to the government, you find ways to be more tax efficient. And that's what we're doing for all of our clients. We're helping them save dollars. 3% year over year, right? And that's something that we're not getting paid for. But if you can save $50,000, $20,000, $10,000, $3,000 every year in taxes, that is a big win at the end of the day. And it's something that isn't that complicated. It's just a conversation. We get a statement or two, we tweak a couple things, and boom, you've just saved 10 grand. You just saved 50 grand, right? And we're going to do that every year and make sure every year you're saving money on taxes that you wouldn't have saved before. So again, I urge you, if you have these assets, you're entering retirement, you're in retirement, and you're paying taxes to the government year over year that you're looking at, why is my tax bill so incredibly high? Reach out to us. Let's see if we can make you more tax efficient with your dollars. And to do so, just reach me at my personal cell, 602-909-9048. Again, that is 602-909-9048. Let's get a plan in place. Let's stop giving Uncle Sam all of our dollars, right? And make sure we know where we're at and just continue to build on this every year until we're financially bulletproof. But as always, love coming on every Monday. I enjoy the show. I enjoy chatting with each and every one of you every week, and look forward to future conversations. But happy Monday to everyone, and have a great week.
There you have it. I'm a proud dad right now. That's Joey right there. Listen, do what I'm doing. I'm telling you right now, it's a good feeling knowing, hey, I don't have to worry about it. I've got it covered, and I'm doing it in the most efficient and best way possible. And things have changed everywhere. They're always doing it. They're changing the rules all the time, and a lot of these products aren't what they used to be. So check them out, 602-909-9048. Jason, we got a big week ahead of us. Jay Powell's going to be talking this week. We're going to get a lot of Fed governors talking. We're going to get another look at some inflation numbers. But right now, I think the big thing for the day is all the strikes. Looks like Hollywood. Yeah, like you know what? The one place that I wish they'd stay on strike was Hollywood. Apparently, that one's coming to an end. We've got news out of Ford today, because Ford is the only of the big three automakers where they didn't expand the strike, saying, man, we are really not that close. And then we've got Friday, we're waiting for, is Kaiser going to hit the picket lines? And then I saw today, in Minnesota, I want to say it's of all places, a spam plant. Yeah, there may not be any spam on the shelf. Jason, they're threatening to strike. Everybody's threatening to strike.
Well, when people need money and they can't pay their bills with what they normally do, then unions are, they'll start, they organize and they try to get more money for the workers. That's what unions do. I mean, it's a good thing, and sometimes it's a bad thing, depending on how the unions run. But what do you expect? What does anyone expect? What do these big companies expect? They need money to buy food, to buy shelter, to pay their simple needs, to raise their families. And the problem with the striking that's going on now and probably in the future is, I just go back to Yellow Freight. Yellow Freight didn't have a strike. They just collapsed. So that's what some of these strikes are probably going to end up doing to some of these companies, because as time goes on, some of these big companies they'll figure it out. They'll just they'll move the puzzle pieces around a little bit. But smaller companies or middle-sized companies, they're not going to be able to handle a strike, Joe. They're just going to fall apart.
Yeah, well, guess what? Speaking of falling apart, here we go. Rite Aid said that they are getting ready for a new bankruptcy plan and liquidating a substantial part of their 2,100 stores. Right now, I'm seeing number 500 Rite Aids could be getting ready to close here. And then Common Spirit Health. For those that I know, a lot of you are like, well, I don't really know that company. They're actually pretty big. A $1.4 billion operating loss. They run a lot of hospitals in the country, saying that they're going to be laying off 2,000 workers. And then in Texas, one of the big employers in Texas saying they're laying off up to 700 workers as they've lost a contract to supply food to all places, hospitals. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see how this goes, but some interesting news when we get back. 800-951-0592. Joe and Jason, Patriot Radio News Hour on this Monday. Quick look here at the markets. The Dow is down. The good news, I guess, it's off the lows, down 50. The S&P and the NASDAQ are up a little bit. The 10-year note, 4.52 right now. Oil's off a little bit. Gold and silver, they're off a little. Actually, silver's off a little more. We got a great opportunity in the silver markets today. Take advantage. Remember, there are no more backdate silver eagles. We've got them on sale today, $610 a roll on silver eagles. And then we got some more of the $5 liberties on the gold side. Great fractional material pre-1933. And really, the liberties pre-1907. 1866 to 1907. 1 through 9, 570. 10 or more, 565. So you're saving money on both places. The Japanese yen today hit 149. Everybody's been waiting for the yen to go above 150. And, of course, now remember, Japan. First time that I think I've ever said this in 20 years. The Japanese consumer, Jason, becoming large gold buyers as their currency starts to unwind. And again, I think this is just some pick it, right? We've got debt problems. China's got debt problems. Europe's got debt problems. Japan's got debt problems. The fiat money debt system has problems everywhere.
Yes, it does. Yeah, Joe, and it's a debt money system, and they get everyone, all bought into this debt, and then they can control you. And what did we hit over like $1 trillion in credit card debt? I just saw, I think it was late Friday, that the losses on credit cards are mounting faster than the Great Recession, right? We're hitting those levels again with people not paying their credit cards. So yeah, it's there's some lean times ahead. You got companies striking all over the country. People can't pay their credit cards. Pretty soon they won't be able to pay their car loans, and then all the repossessions and the foreclosures come, and that's what leads to recessions, or even worse, a possible depression in the future.
Yeah, the repo man's probably business is probably picking up, but Jason's right. Goldman Sachs saying the credit card losses, which are so take the last 30 years. Only one other time in the last 30 years have defaults risen so quickly, and that was the financial crisis going back to 2008. But Goldman's over the weekend said it's not done. They expect losses to rise all through the rest of 2023, all of 2024, into 2025. And right now they're already saying they expect credit card losses to hit 5%. That's unheard of. That's an unheard of amount. And Jason said, hey, when you're talking about $1 trillion, right, in credit card debt, well, 10% of that, that's $100 billion. You're sitting there, Jason, and you're talking about losses that for banks that can't afford losses right now, even if it's $50 billion. Hey, I had to write off $50 billion. At the same time, I'm writing off all of this bad debt on commercial real estate. Deposits are falling. I saw another thing with deposits. Man, it just doesn't seem to be stopping. But yeah, so this is just, how much more can we stand? Housing has come to a screeching halt, right? Prices are still up, but housing has stopped. Autos, right? We got two of the big three on strike. Cars are a fortune. How about this one? $23,000 no longer will buy you a 3-year-old used car. Not a 1-year-old used car. It won't even buy you a 3-year-old used car. I mean, Jason, it's incredible how quickly things have changed.
Well, and with the credit cards, and now you're talking even car loans, when people are using credit cards just to make ends meet, and then they no longer have any credit, the banks aren't going to extend any more credit because they can barely hold themselves together. And what are these families going to do that have been depending on credit cards the last year and a half, 2 years, to make ends meet, and then they've hit the wall? Even when the process server comes and starts pushing you to go to court, and they try to squeeze whatever drops they can out of your bank account, where are these families going to go to make ends meet? What are they going to do? Get kicked out of their house to what? Get a 3-bedroom apartment that costs more than their mortgage? People are, there's a huge squeeze, Joe, going on. It's a major squeeze. I've seen it at the people in my own life. I always try to look at what's going on, because small situations always reflect the bigger picture, and the bigger picture always kind of reflects the small picture. So a lot of times you can just quiz your friends about how they're doing, and of course you can't just do all your well-to-do friends. You got to have some less to do, well-to-do, middle-to-do. And when you start to see that across the board, they're all having trouble, which is what I'm starting to see, Joe. Is a lot of them are having, someone who's well-to-do isn't going to lose their house, but suddenly they're just not eating out as much. The family vacation isn't going to Europe and going for a month. It's, we'll go to the Bahamas for a week. Those are indications. Yeah, they're not hurting so bad, but they're not living the standard of living they were. And then on the lower end, Joe, these people don't have any place to live. They're eating the lowest quality foods, or paying for the cheapest things, and they're stacking up whatever credit cards they can get their hands on, and then it just blows up on them, right? So it's a lot of 2024, 2025, just like you said, with saying that's where all this stuff's really getting worse. We've been saying that for a while, that the end of this year maybe it'll crash, but it sure seems like the fuse is lit with the big boys have their cash sitting there in the reverse repo, and when that runs out, if the Fed isn't going to just give it to them, crash and burn, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, the national debt, last week we said, hey, we hit $33 trillion. We had another $100 billion already.
I know. Yep.
It's just that fast, right? I mean, it's incredible the speed at what a lot of these things are happening. And when I'm not going to do it now. When we get back, they are liars. They lie. The IRS telling you, oh, don't worry, we're hiring all these agents because we're going after all the billionaires. There's enough IRS. You can have 100 IRS agents for every billionaire, probably 1,000 for every billionaire. It's absolutely ridiculous. New rules in place. This has nothing to do with people with means. Matter of fact, this is another blow to a lot of people that are just trying to get by. I'll tell you what it is. You're not going to believe it. And the threshold, how tiny, how microscopic the thresholds are. We're going to share that with you next. 800-951-0592. Joe and Jason on this Monday. You know, we're going to share with you more IRS enforcement. We had Joey on. What was he talking about? Talking about taxes. Big changes are coming. You need to have places to go to put your money that you're going to get a good rate of return just to try to survive. That's why we've been talking about why refi for like the last year now, up to 10.25% return. It's not correlated to the stock market. That's going to be really important. It's not correlated to the Fed. It doesn't care about inflation or rates. It doesn't care about fiat money or any of that other side. It doesn't care about strikes, right? It doesn't care about that stuff. It's a fixed rate of return, no fees. You can turn your income on, you can turn it off, you can compound it. I mean, they give you all this versatility and freedom, and if you ever need your money back, there is zero attack on your principal, zero. And you know, if you've done stuff like this, you know that never happens. Check them out, investyrefy.com. That's the word invest, the letter Y, REFY.com. Or do what I did. Just call them. 888-Y-REFI-24. That's 888-Y-REFI-24. Remember, you got to have $50,000 at a minimum. You can use an existing IRA. Some of you can even use your 401k. But, Jason, I knew it was a dirty trick. We know. And listen, anyone listening to this show, they know. Okay, yeah, you're not hiring all these IRS agents to go after rich people. You're going to say that, but you're not going to change. As a matter of fact, here's the one thing. Guess what? They didn't change. They didn't even change the percentages. Right? They were really going to target the rich people. They could have said, you know what? Well, right now, millionaires and billionaires, you know, they're audited at 5%. They could have made it 10 or 15. Right? But they didn't. Instead, they left it all the same. They just hired more people. Well, I think I know why. If you've been making money, and you know what, I shouldn't even have to say this part. If you've been out there selling, maybe you've been selling your tickets to the Broncos. Maybe after this whooping they took, maybe you're going to sell them. Because you're like, that's it, I'm done. I'm going to sell my tickets. If you look at the Cardinal game, look at all the Cowboy fans that were at the Cardinal game. That was Arizona guy selling tickets to the to the Cowboy fans. Well, get ready for the IRS to come calling. New rules by the IRS, and this is for 2023 taxes. The newly implemented law lowered the tax reporting thresholds for users of e-commerce platforms, including ticketing websites like Ticketmaster and StubHub. This includes PayPal. This includes what is the other one? The Zelle, right? All of these platforms. Now, I would get it. If you're like, well, we're looking at, when you're talking like Ticketmaster, StubHub, companies that use this a lot, right? Hey, this is our business model. Okay, you probably need to have something in place. The law used to be $20,000 or more, which says to me, okay, yeah, this is kind of your normal course of business. You know, you got to pay your taxes on it. That law made sense to me. Because that wasn't, hey, I'm a season ticket holder for the Cardinals, but I sell a game or two to pay for my tickets, right? That's not, right? You're not out there getting rich or doing any of this or that. The IRS, the new threshold, so it was 20,000. I don't know. Maybe 10,000, because you know how much they love that number, 10,000. $600. You sold one Taylor Swift ticket, Jason, the IRS is going to come calling.
Digital currency is going to make that an absolute. That's kind of the point of the digital currency that they're making, Joe, is that now especially when times are getting tough, which we're heading into that, and the CBDC is going to be one of those. It's going to be introduced as a way of saving everybody financially, but they're going to be able to tax your garage sale purchases. You'll be running a little garage sale, selling all that stuff that you were already taxed on when you bought the stuff, and you're going to sell stuff, and everyone's going to have no choice. They're going to buzz your little machine or whatever it is, a card or whatever it's going to be, and you're going to collect. I don't know. Let's say you have a good garage sale, you get like $1,000, you sell $1,000 worth of stuff, and then zap, 20% goes to the IRS for the gains on your garage sale. And then of course, Joe, everything else, depending on what the situation is, higher. If you're selling gold and silver, well, that's going to be a higher tax item. If you're selling something that's more approved, then a little lower tax. But everything, Joe, this will be everything. This is a great way to show people what's ahead, because these are digital pay systems. So this is a great way for them to test out how that's going to work, Joe, because now they have IRS agents to be able to look at these things.
Get ready for Form 1099K. 1099K is going to be the form. So if you're somebody, and I don't care if you sold a ticket, if you maybe you did a job and someone Zelled you. How about these college kids? I know, I've got my youngest still in college. They do this all the time. Hey, I'm gonna buy the beer tonight, or I'm gonna buy the groceries, and you guys just Zelle me the money. You PayPal me the money. You do over $600, which is nothing. $600 in a calendar year, you're getting a 1099K. Absolute insanity. But again, as Jason pointed, this is why they're hiring all these IRS agents. Then the digital currency is going to come, and everybody's going to get tracked this way. Patriot Radio News Hour. We'll be back after the break. (800-951-0592). Got two great specials today. Rolls of Silver Eagles, and again, the Silver Eagle supply drying up very quickly, which just means higher premiums are right around the corner. $610 a roll on Silver Eagles today. And then the $5 Liberty Gold piece, 1866 to 1907. The quarter ounce piece, 1 through 9, $570. 10 or more, $565 at 800-951-0592. And if that wasn't bad enough with the IRS, I saw Trudeau, the president of Canada, attacking the grocery stores, saying, "Don't make profits. You got to lower prices. You're making too much money," which they're not. Listen, I did grocery a long time. There's no money. You got to have volume. You got to be Walmart and Kroger. We know this. Chicago's mayor coming out, Brandon Johnson, said that the city is considering opening government-run food stores because everybody's closing. All the supermarkets are closing in the south side and the west side of Chicago, where all the crime is, and people don't have any money, so they got to steal everything. Jason, this is getting kind of creepy because we're talking about digital currencies coming. Now we've got government attacking the grocery industry. Right? This is how they build this stuff. And all of a sudden, right? Remember the Soviet Union? That's what you had. Hey, today you can buy this, and tomorrow you can buy that. It's crazy to think about, but this is what they're talking about, right? And how long? Well, you're only allowed this much red meat. You're only allowed this much chicken. You're only allowed this much gasoline. These are the things that digital currencies can do to people. And Jason, they're going to do it.
Yeah, well, is there any choice? Is there any choice? Let's face it, we're a socialist nation. I know people think all of these things, But we're run, they capitalist. We're not capitalist, crony capitalism at best. This country has been heading this direction very quickly. Maybe on the next show I might play a clip of something that one of the listeners sent me in. Kind of talks about Lenin and what he did when he took power right before World War I. And it's just like, oh, these are the things he did, and you look at the things he did, and they're happening in this country now. And so, Joe, the things you're talking about, why would any reputable business stay open in a place where they're going to lose money and their safety is in question? No, you pack up, you go somewhere else. And I mean, Detroit. I mean, the first recession, the Great Recession. Look what happened to Detroit. I mean, Detroit was already coming down, but look how fast it collapsed. Detroit was a big, fat warning to the rest of this country. And look, Baltimore looks terrible now. San Francisco looks terrible now. It's happening right in front of us, Joe.
Portland, Seattle. I mean, the list keeps growing. And boy, is this a trend? Is this what we're going to see? No, because obviously crime has been running rampant. Homelessness is rampant. And these businesses are getting out. And the answer from the government isn't, well, let's fix that problem. Nope. Instead, let's open up our government-run stores. Yeah, that's going to work. Silver Eagles, $610. $5 Liberties, $570. 10 or more, $560. $565 at 800-951-0592. Jason and I are coming right back. Steve Mitchell's going to be with us. You're not going to want to miss it.